I was,
Sorry, just going to go ahead and start the recording.
yeah, I was pleased. I found the abruptness and the absoluteness of it scary, and was pleased though that it doesn't seem to affect us that much, at least at this point. Oh,
Yeah, it was a
thanks.
surprise.
Okay,
Everything up.
we have a full agenda again.
All right. Did everyone see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay. Um, did we all approve the agenda?
Mhm.
So approved. Okay, cool. Then the next thing is to start cracking on this list. Um, Jessica, you want to talk about the item ones?
Sure. Can everyone see the code sections that are up here? Okay. So I met with the town attorney yesterday and went over the changes that he made to the language that we had originally presented. And I was really glad that he did that because once we codified the early voting language, we needed to account for that in the different sections of the code where there is like deadlines. So he added 10 days prior to the start of early voting. So everywhere that there's a deadline, he made sure that early voting was like the starting point instead of like the town election day, so that there's adequate notice. It doesn't necessarily impact what we're doing right now, but for the future it may, if we choose to do it sooner than just like the day before. So that was really the only change he made. And that it was all very appropriate. I didn't really have a lot of questions about that. Just making sure that everywhere that in the code or the charter, it needed to refer to early voting, it did. So there was just some additional language there. We moved forward with the 65 days preceding the election, of course. I thought that research made a lot of sense. And so let's just see what the council says on Monday night. And then he didn't have any comments about us simply removing February to say that the election judges will be appointed at a legislative meeting prior to the May election. So like we discussed last week, your current terms end in October. So that isn't something that we necessarily need to change because it's the year before the actual election. But when it relates to the election judges, just taking the reference to February out allows the appointment to be made at any point before the May election. And when we had the February date in there, what actually happened was the council would adopt a resolution appointing election judges, and then almost every month after that, they would replace that resolution with ones that had additional names on it. So in reality, we didn't actually have the appointments in place until right before the election anyways. So we just took that language out, and I think he didn't have any comments on that or any concerns. And then the language that he added for early voting was pretty standard. So it didn't give me any pause. I just wanted to make sure that you all had the chance to review it and didn't have any questions or concerns. So the plan is to, and I'm going to share just real quickly a cover memo that I put together that was reviewed by the town manager for Monday night. So just kind of moving into the second item. So this was basically just a general overview of what has happened, right? So we are asking the council for their to introduce legislation at the October 7th meeting. So that's not this meeting, but the first legislative meeting in October. The main changes that were highlighted were the adoption of an ordinance in January rather than February. So that moves that election timeline up by a month. A 40-day adjustment to the candidate filing deadline, so from 25 to 65, and then language throughout to allow for early voting. It mentions, the cover memo says that we held a community meeting to discuss the proposed changes, and we received positive response from the community, specifically like former town election judges. The proposed changes have been posted on the town's website on the committee's page for a period of time now, probably since February. Kate's research is at the bottom, showing that we were out of line actually with 25 days. We were at the very end of it, and I'm not even sure how we got it done, frankly, looking at all these other jurisdictions. So all around us, I mean, it's like 40, 50 days, and there's 60 days. I mean, we're not the outliers, 94, so we're not that far out. I feel like, you know, we're in the middle of the pack here. I'm not really sure that there's a lot to I guess, debate, honestly. I mean, it seems pretty reasonable based on the research that Kate did. And again, what it does for us, and I think it's important for the council to understand, is that it allows us to have those ballots printed earlier. So we're able to notify the public of who's running for office. That doesn't change anything, whether somebody wants to do a write-in campaign or anything like that, that still is available. And it just gives more time to get those mail-in ballots into people's hands so that they can return them. And so just focusing, I think, on that might help the council to see it's not as big of a change as it initially seemed. And so just letting the council know that the town attorney has reviewed the language. Most of it is his language. The new language is from the town attorney. And this is what I wanted to point out, is the timeline for the changes would be, if it's introduced on October the 7th, there's certain advertising requirements. The code sections would be effective November 24th, but the charter amendment would not be effective until December 24th. That's still before we get into the election time, but it's a tight squeeze. So they need to be decisive at the meeting on Monday night, that they're going to move forward. And that's partially why I'd really hope that we could have a couple members of the Board of Elections there, to just, this isn't Jessica's idea, this is the board's idea on how this can really benefit our process. And that's the main thing, is just the giving us time to breathe and be able to do the things that need to be done.
And that's for the October 7th meeting, right? That's next week?
So we'll meet on September 30th. So that's next Monday. And this is
Okay.
when they'll review the language that's not in a ordinance or charter amendment format yet.
Is that the work session?
Yes, at the work
Okay.
session. And then once they like say that it's fine, then October the 7th should simply be an introduction. And now there will be an opportunity for a public hearing for the charter amendment. And it would be great if the board could be there. And in this proposed legislative timeline, that's when it would fit. It would fit on October the 28th at the regularly scheduled meeting. But this is where we landed. And I think we're in a really strong position as it relates to the recommended changes. That research that Kate did kind of really, for me, put it kind of out there that we have some really old sections of code. And Heather, you're nodding because you went through all of it and you saw all the little pieces that need to be changed.
Yeah, and it made sense, you know, when we were casting ballots in a see-through box, like 25 days is like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, I think it makes sense as our process has gotten more sophisticated and secure, that we just need the extra time. And sorry, Jessica, I got a little bit lost in the dates.
Okay.
Is it the 7th or the 28th when it would be helpful to have Board of Election members there?
So it'd be
Or both?
helpful to have everyone on the 30th of September.
This Monday.
This Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's when they're going to discuss it and they're going to turn around and be like, yeah, where did this come from?
Okay.
So that way, I think I can just present it really concisely. And they were very supportive when you guys were there in February. I felt like that was great. And the only thing that seems like it could cause any sort of angst is this change in candidate filing deadline. And it really is primarily because of the practice that the town has, or the people who run for office, of waiting till the very last day. And I was explaining that to the town attorney, like, this wouldn't necessarily be so much of an issue. I mean, it would still be an issue, but we don't get the packets until the absolute 25th day. And then we have barely any time. The board, I'm speaking we, the royal we,
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
have a lot of time to review all of those signatures. And if there's any follow-up that you have to do with the Board of Elections, it's like, you know, you're really under the gun to get it done. And the people who are waiting to print the ballots are just like, you know, chomping at the bit, because they print them like right away. And then we barely have them in our hands. I don't even know that we have them in our hands before Election Day, because we have to mail out the mail-in ballots. So this will give a lot more time, and hopefully we can push and encourage and really get people to vote by mail. It's the easiest thing really for them, especially with the drop boxes and things. So this year, if all of this passes, not only will you have adjusted the timeline, so that's a significant change, but you will have given a lot more time to like get those ballots out there and give people the time to consider their vote, and then to actually cast their vote. And also, for the first time ever in town history that I'm aware of, there will be early voting. And even
Yeah.
though it's small, it's a significant step towards you know, just a better process
It
overall.
really is. It really is. What time's the meeting on Monday?
7:30,
7:30. Okay. And that's on Zoom. That's not an in-person meeting, is it?
right? It's still on Zoom.
Could you
Town
send
hall's
us,
not ready yet. Not done yet. I'll let you all know as soon as it is.
We're
Sorry,
gonna have a party.
We are.
can you send us the link to the meeting?
I'll send all of that.
I'll do my best. barring
Yeah, I
meeting.
unfortunately have a work meeting that night, so I can't make the 30th, but if it's helpful to make the 7th or the 28th, I'm happy to try to do that.
I can make the 30th and can't make the 7th, so yes, please, Heather.
Perfect.
Great.
That'd
Thank
be
you.
great. That way, if there's any questions, the board can answer them versus staff.
Yeah.
So I think that's always like easier to understand. So I think we've moved, it's taken a while, but we've gotten to a place where, you know, there's actual legislation that's been reviewed by the town attorney. He's given some really good feedback as it relates to early voting. Mostly everything else that the board put together, really there were no changes to. And then the next step is just, he'll just reformat it into one ordinance, one charter amendment, and then the council will introduce it, and then we start going through a process. So hopefully we can not have any delays. The only concern I have is if the council just doesn't seem like engaged. We just need to be sure that we get that direction on Monday night, that we're going to get this legislation and prepared and introduced for the October 7th meeting. Sarah, it might be good for you to talk to the mayor. I know your neighbors, just to see if you can alleviate any concerns you might have about the change, but everything else is pretty.
Okay, I'll check in and tell him that we are looking to do, this is on the agenda, and that there's also a timeliness component that we need. And if he has concerns, or he thinks that there's going to be concerns, if he can let us know, and then we can come in with trying to address those ahead of time.
Perfect. That's perfect. Does anyone have any concerns or questions? I mean, we're there. We got there finally.
No,
Exciting.
yeah, I'm thrilled.
Yep.
I'm thrilled. And it looks so official when you put it in that table like that. That's nice. Thank you.
It does look so nice. And Kate, that was really helpful though. Like even for me, like to wrap my head around how much time other jurisdictions are giving.
Yeah.
And then
I
if you
agree.
look at the
Me too.
list, it's interesting.
Yeah, well, I wish I'd had more time because I would have gotten a bigger sample, but I was going for close and really far. And there were a few places that I looked at, I just couldn't find any information. And that's not their fault, that's my fault. I just didn't know how to look.
I don't want to belabor this because I know Pat needs to leave
Yep.
early and we have other things to get to, but Kate, did you look for Cheverly?
I didn't. I should
I was
have.
just comparing the list of like this list against municipalities that have non-citizen voting or under 18 voting.
Good thinking. I'm
They
sorry,
just
I
stuck
didn't.
out to me as one that might be missing from this list that may be worth adding. I don't know if
Yeah.
it,
Let
if
me,
that-
well, let me see what I can find. We'll see how it goes
because I think
tonight.
that's another
Um,
argument for this is to
Yeah.
make sure that, you know, we have the space and time to get ballots out via the mail, to make sure that everything is printed in time, you know, notification, all that kind of stuff. And because we have this unique
Right,
rule that I'm really proud of,
right.
we also want to make sure that we're setting up those systems correctly and safely and
Yeah.
securely. And they,
I didn't know that Cheverly had it as well.
yeah, I was just
Okay.
looking at, there's a list on Ballotpedia, and some of these other like Hyattsville and Tacoma Park, and you know, some of them are already on there, but they stuck out as potentially missing.
Okay,
Is
Thank
Mount
you.
Rainier one of them, Heather? Mount Rainier also, and City of Frederick just adopted the same.
did they?
amendment.
Mount Rainier's on the list, Tacoma Park, Hyattsville. Like there
Okay.
are some others that are much smaller, but Cheverly is just a bit
okay.
big.
So
Okay.
let me see. I looked up Mount Rainier, which is how we pronounce it when you're from here, by the way.
Oh, there it is.
Rainier.
Yeah, I see it. Got it.
Okay.
Did I say
Um,
Rainier?
Jane Cavert said Rainier. We don't like that. So Mount Rainier, Cheverly. Who else?
Mount Rainier's. on the
Yeah,
list
it's
already.
there. It's there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't see it. So
Okay, and
35.
Frederick.
Frederick, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Frederick isn't on the Ballotpedia list, so that's a good add. It looks
Okay.
like Chevy Chase is also on the list. I know they're not in PG, but
That's okay.
I know, I'm like,
Wow.
wow, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe they don't have anybody to include anyway, so they said might as well put them on the list because it doesn't change.
Wow.
well, yeah, there says without regard to citizenship and at least and at least 18 years. So they don't have the under
Okay.
18, they just
Right.
have citizenship.
Okay.
Well, that
All right.
allows all of the people who are here on diplomatic stuff to vote, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why they
Anyway,
have.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to add a bunch of work, but
Well,
was
let me
just
see
thinking
what
about
I can
that.
come up with, and if I can find it quick, I will send it. I'll send it around, but Jessica, I'll get that to you ASAP so that you can alter that lovely table.
Thanks, Kate.
Okay.
All right. So
All right,
there
cool.
we go. Let's see. Okay, the State Board of Elections involvement. We've talked about this a little bit already. So this came out, this memo came out just actually I just received it a couple of days ago, and I had heard about this a little bit from our town attorney. He just asked if we had heard from our county board asking or discussing limitations in the support that they can provide for our municipal elections. And I said, gee, well, I hope not. And I didn't hear from anybody. And this came out from the Maryland Municipal League. So it feels like it came out of the blue, and basically the State Board of Elections was saying that they do not have statutory authority to provide the level of service that some of the jurisdictions need, but at all to any municipalities. They went further to reach out to the local boards to remind them of what their limitations are. So it felt a little pointed, if you will. It's a little surprising. But when I read through, I think that we are fine because of how kind of standard our elections are. We don't have the poll books. We don't ask for a huge amount of support from the county board. What they provide to us is the voter activity card. And frankly, they need that in order to track the voter history anyways. And we pay for the anything additional, like the postcards, and we could even do those on our own. I don't have an issue or concern about that. The bigger concern is just maintaining the voter records and having a voter roll. And it sounds like that's something required by the state and through the county. So I don't think we're going to have an issue with that. They do nothing with our supplemental voter registry anyways. We create all of those cards ourselves. So I think we're okay. But I just wanted to let you know, because it's probably going to be a lot of discussion. And with the election coming in November, the municipal elections that happen in November, I was just saying I feel terrible for their clerks and their boards because it has to be really scary moving forward with how you think everything's going to be. And it's going to be the same way it was in previous years, and now suddenly it's not. So it sounds like the Maryland General Assembly is committed to having emergency legislation at the very beginning of their session this year. I don't know what that'll look like, but I think we need to kind of pay a little bit of attention to it to make sure things don't go a little wonky. You know, in trying to fix things, sometimes there's unintentional consequences. So we'll want to make sure that everything is okay. But I did check with the town attorney to make sure that I could share the privileged and confidential information. He said that was fine.
Good.
And that was from the Office of the Attorney General. So I just thought that was really concerning, and no idea why they have certain locations that are exempted. You know that state law doesn't carve those out. So I'm really confused by how this happened or why it happened. It's a little concerning. So that's really it. So we'll have to monitor the situation and just hopefully everything will get back on track by the time
Yeah.
our election takes place.
Well, if they want letters from municipalities in support of blah, 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 or municipal boards of election, then we should consider being able to do that.
We can, I testify too, if there's any need for that.
Okay, and I'll reach out to, I think it's prudent to just reach out to the county to see what direction they're receiving right now, just to at least talk with like Susan Kreuter, who we worked with for years and years and years, and see what she thinks about what's going on and if there's anything really for us to be concerned about. So for the first time, well, not the first time, this may be the second or third time, but because our elections are not as complicated, we're able to kind of fly under the radar. We also were we were using the optical ballots or the optical scanning of ballots when the state came back to that. So we've kind of stayed right where we needed to contain or continue to have a professional election and not need a whole lot of support from the state.
Right.
So I think we're in a good position for now. And Fred agreed. Town attorney didn't think we had anything to worry about right at the moment.
Good.
So that was.
But still.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's no reason to make.
That's one reason, and that's just to make us all a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, we're all nervous about November, just in general with the the narrative that goes around elections and the change in people's attitudes towards election. Employees, if you will, and volunteers. It's really stressful enough. So, going to the next item, the supplemental voter registry. I'm sorry, Pat, I'm trying to move it along quickly here. Kate made a bunch of changes or recommendations. The only question or the only answer I wanted to provide is that we still need the town and the state zip code because parts of the Arts District mailing addresses are in Hyattsville.
Oh, okay.
So
all
we kept
I was
that.
wondering. Okay.
Yeah, so I kept
Good.
that and I made the changes.
I know, I just checked and they look great.
Were they good? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think if there's no other changes or concerns, I will have Chris, our staff member who speaks Spanish, take a look at the Spanish version just to make sure that the language that we added to the second page doesn't make the Spanish translation incorrect. So he'll take a look at that.
Okay, good.
But otherwise, I think we're okay.
Great.
Let's get these up and out is what I was thinking.
Do we need to vote? Or are we okay? I don't, does anyone see a problem with these? No, then.
Move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your editing, Kate, and your
Oh, sure.
due diligence.
Certainly. So then just wanted to touch base on voter outreach. So Heather put together a great Google document for us to just kind of monitor the outreach that we've done. I know that I communicated with Jahara earlier this week and she got the contact information for the business association. I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about specifically related to voter outreach at the moment, or if you want to circle back to that next month and really dig into preparations.
I can tell you, I spoke to Jim Coleman.
Oh, you did great.
And he is 100% in support of whatever we want to do.
That's
And
great.
I asked, and however, whenever, as much as we want to be there, he is 100% supportive. He did say, I said, is there any a better time for us to come? And he said the holiday event, it would be potentially a better time, but it wasn't, he was just part of that event. And so he said that we would need to talk to the town because I guess it's a town sponsored event.
Mhm.
And so I said, oh, I'll ask Jessica. So that would be, if we can get the town's permission to be there, and then we would need materials. He did say that tchotchkes work.
Mhm.
So that if we can do something that we can hand out or give to people, that would work better. To get people to remember. And I also thought some kind of the stickers with the QR codes might be useful.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Okay.
But we need
Do-
to.
Do
put some-
people put magnets on their refrigerator anymore? If we were to like do some
This,
sort of, is that like old school? Heather's laughing. Is that
No,
not anymore?
We have so much shit on our refrigerator, Jessica. I probably shouldn't say that on an official town call.
Yeah.
I mean, our household uses magnets, yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think is the only people who don't have magnets have those very fancy refrigerators. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a fairly small group of people, and I doubt that we need to reach out to them and get them involved in voting. I think they're probably going to know. I don't know. That's just me making great sweeping judgments. Magnets sound fine to me.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe people would at least, if we handed them out, people would have them on their fridge and maybe see
Yeah.
it. Who knows? Stickers I think are always great. People love stickers, not on their windows or on their cars, but
No.
kids love them.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
okay, so we can actually put that on our list maybe for next week to talk about, like our next
Okay.
time we meet, on what kind of giveaway you might like.
And I'm sorry, I do need to go now.
Thanks,
No
Pat.
worries.
Can I ask one thing, Pat? You're with the arts people, right?
Yeah,
I think I did some research into the I voted sticker stuff, and a lot of towns partner with local arts organizations, especially when it comes to judging. And I wanted to see if you could bring that to the arts people to see if you guys would be interested in partnering with us on that project.
yes, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Love it.
Good answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I don't know if I won't be on the board, so then it wouldn't be the
Yeah.
Board of Elections, and then it wouldn't be a conflict.
Yep.
Right?
Because I have actually been a judge for lots of the HCAA stuff, so and the sculptures and
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Excellent.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
I want to say yes.
Very good.
Okay.
Very
Bye.
good. Thanks, Pat.
That's fantastic. And the school will be very supportive of having the kids get involved. The art teacher helped us with the town seal design stuff. Several of their classes did some
good.
activities for us. So
Oh, good.
that's really nice.
That's great.
So,
If,
yeah.
if folks could go ahead and start putting their names by things that they're willing to do, that would be great. And on our next call, we can sort of like go through there a little bit more in depth with what we're asking. The thing that I didn't put on here is like, what are we asking them to do?
Right.
And so I can add
Right.
that. Jessica, just in terms of, I was thinking about the businesses, like restaurants, if we're asking folks to put stickers on to-go bags or whatever, is that something that somebody on town staff can design something with a QR code, or
Mhm.
should we handle that?
Now we could design something. I could ask Chris to work on that for us. So a QR code that takes you to the town election page
Yep.
on the website. So that's what we're building, trying to build now. So these forms will be helpful. We already have the Maryland voter information up there now, but yeah, we'll start adding things
Okay,
as we go along.
great.
Yeah, no, I think we'll be good.
And some of the restaurants are members of the business association, I think. So maybe Jahara can make some inroads with them through that channel.
Yeah, that would be great.
I don't see 250 barbecue on this list.
It's there.
Oh, there it is. I was looking for the number. Okay.
And Sarah, you said you had some of the I voted information for the
Yes,
contest?
I tried to put it in the Dropbox, but I was having, this is when I discovered I wasn't logged into things, nothing would connect. And
Oh.
then- So, there's a lot out there, a lot of people have done it. And so I just randomly chose like 3 or 4. What I focused on getting was the instructions that went out to people who wanted to participate, because that seems to be the bulk of, what we needed to figure out. There's even a web page on the United States Board of Elections, so whatever they are, that is all about doing this, and they have a little video and everything as well. One of the things, I think we should start small. Definitely I think it makes sense to do the elementary school, because we know all those people are local. And then we have to figure out how to, we can, there are lots of places they have elementary, middle, and high school, but since the middle school and the high schools are mixed areas, I'm not sure how we make it clear to people that they're supposed to be in Riverdale, or if they have to be in Riverdale. I don't know.
I think keeping it with the elementary school is good because there's the cute factor.
Yeah.
So maybe if we just focus on those little bitty ones
Yeah.
making art,
Yeah.
that would be great.
I thought that made sense, at least to start with. And we could even, depending on, I don't know how many kids are over there, but we could break it into groups. So you have kindergarten, first, second grade, and then,
Yeah.
because a 5th grader in a kindergarten shouldn't, that's a massive difference in skills.
Right.
So we could break it down that way if we wanted to do multiple ones.
Right.
And then we just, all of it's basically a 1-page sheet that talks about, we have to come up with how big, what kind of, how we want it to, formats and all that kind of stuff, and how it gets distributed. We want to, one of the things that I think is important is to try to reach out to the other elementary school age kids in the town who aren't going to that school. So homeschoolers or people in going to schools outside of this area. But I think we can put something on the website. I don't know what else to do beyond that.
Although maybe for starters, maybe we should just focus on Riverdale Elementary.
Yeah.
And, I have other kids that go to other schools have more opportunities to do other things.
Yeah,
And the
it's a-
homeschool crowd has plenty of opportunities to do things. But
Yeah.
I think that it would be good
Yes.
just.
Oh, I think putting
Yeah.
focusing on the elementary school is fine, but I also think we just put it on the
Yeah.
website
Right,
so that they
Okay.
also
Yeah.
can find it.
right, exactly. But yeah, right. Okay,
That's fine with me. We need to create a timeline, so we need to figure out when we want the stickers done. And then kind of work backwards. And
uh-oh.
Yeah, it was going to.
Sarah's in the freezer.
that's professional quality. The Ann Arbor has all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Them could be a professional graphic design thing, even from the middle schooler.
Yeah.
But there's the art point, but making sure it has something to do with voting.
Yeah, right.
I
Do
don't
we
know.
want to send them out with the ballots?
When
We
we-
want to send them out with because,
that's what a lot of them do when you send
yeah,
out mail, your mail-in ballots, they send. out.
right. So there's your dedeadline,
Okay.
Super.
5 days before that.
Okay. So I have to
So
back that
that-
up, and then I
Yeah.
think Jessica, I think figuring out how long that this will take, we need to talk to the teachers and figure out how they fit it into
Right,
their schedules and things like that, and
Right.
from that. And then, like I said, working with our arts council, and I don't know if we want to bring anyone else into it, Jessica. I don't know if there's anything, if we can do something to bring in people from other parts of the community. So if we can, if we have a Spanish language, we're gonna have a Spanish language ones, can we bring in some people from the Spanish speaking community to judge those as well? So that we can use this as a tool to bring them in.
So let me ask just one question.
Yep.
Since this is our first time doing it.
Yep.
And we're not real sure how much work this might be.
Yep.
You want me to see if I could get a quote for NDC helping us with the community outreach and all of the things that go into it? It's a similar process, not as intense as the town seal, but what do you think? Or do you think we can handle it?
I don't, since we're just doing the elementary school, I don't think we're gonna get inundated.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal. If anything, I'm more concerned about the opposite, that we don't get enough things. One of the things some people do is give prizes.
Yeah.
And so I think it might be useful to talk to the town businesses and see if we can get like gift cards for food or something like that.
We can pay for that out of our budgets.
Okay.
And we have all sorts of stuff.
It might be neat to do, yes,
I
exactly.
love that. I was like, we'll have enough designs. Somebody will design a sticker. Kate.
It might be
I'm
neat.
just saying, I'm just incentivizing, like, it's gonna be Kate's design if nobody shows up.
all right, so what you get is 10 point times Roman,
Yes, exactly. I
black
voted,
and white.
better vote too.
Right, exactly. Now, if we get stuck, my next door neighbor is an art teacher and she has 2 kids at elementary school and they will stuff the ballot box, which is why I want to stick hard
Okay.
with
Yeah.
Riverdale Elementary.
That sounds good to me. My instinct is to do some kind of gift cards for artists and craftsmen. For
Yeah.
art supplies because of the
Yeah.
nature of this.
Well, can we support local Riverdale businesses by doing,
We can do food and stuff, but I as a 5-year-old, I'd much rather go buy a fun small thing there than.
Maybe we could put together a little basket of stuff that's like
yeah,
art supplies and whatever, and
And then here's a $25 gift certificates for you and your family to go out to dinner or something like that, whatever, yeah.
That's what we typically like to do whenever we give out giveaways or anything at all. We usually try to keep it local. So
yeah,
that would be perfectly fine. I think of
I
fun
just-
places for
I-
kids to go to eat.
I do think though that we need something just because of the kids too, that they're one.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, a long time ago, Calamaris the dentist,
Mhm.
that was PG office supply.
Huh.
You
You
could have
didn't know
gotten
that.
fun stuff.
Yeah, we could have gotten like orange paper and, like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. glue
Anyway,
sticks.
I don't think it's gonna be, as long as we keep our the scale of this pretty small, I think it will be useful and entertaining. One of the other things that one of the jurisdictions did, which I thought sounded really was kind of cool, is and this with the voter education materials that they produced a coloring book for
Oh.
kids to learn about voting that the kids could take. And I thought, and you kind of sneak it into the house that way. I thought that was a neat idea.
Yes,
That's a great idea.
that's amazing.
I bet you it exists somewhere on the website or on the internet, like
Yeah,
how
I
to
bet it
make
does.
Yeah.
maybe.
And we could just kind of find one and brand it with our stuff and our things. And that might be also
Right.
a way at the farmer's market or wherever we are as well.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I love that. Gosh, I
Me
love a
too.
coloring book. Okay.
Me too.
We could even do as like for the holiday event, you always want to do something like fun with the kids. We could do even just like voter related, like just coloring pages and have the kids sit
Right.
and color and just kind of
Right.
congregate.
Yep.
while the other activities are taking place. So yeah, let's look at those too. So much fun.
I was a bit, I was like, oh no, what is this gonna take a lot of work? And then I was like, no, it's just a matter of making sure it's small enough that it's appropriately sized for our resources in our town.
Remember, the timeline ebbs and flows for us, right? So we have this heavy lift with the legislation, and then once the legislation is passed, we can put all the materials out for the candidate filing deadlines and all of that. So it'll all really
Yeah.
kick off in January, and then we have some downtime until the candidate packets are due, and then it
Yep.
gets
You
hectic.
say that and I know the truth.
It does get a little crazy, but I do
Yeah.
think we have some ebbs and flows, so we'll
Yep.
make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, we will.
This is special too. It's unique, and I think it's a real good, like a voter education component that
Yeah,
gets us in the door with people, with families. So
Yeah.
that's important.
it really is.
It's never too soon to learn that
Nope.
voting is important.
Right. Right,
Okay.
especially now.
So I sent you an email, Jessica, that has attachments of like 3 or 4 different directions.
Okay.
I think now that I am logged into Google correctly, I might be able to store stuff up to that drive, and I can put them there if you want me to, or we can send them. I don't know what you want to do with them.
Yeah, if you just want to email them to me, I'll drop them in the box.
Okay.
The
There.
Dropbox, whatever
So
you
I
want.
did that, and I'm got to get the URLs for a couple other things, and I don't know. I'll put them put them in a sheet of paper and say, here's some URLs too.
Cool. Okay. That sounds good. Do we have anything else on the sticker contest? This is so exciting. This is something
I
new.
don't, I think I'm thrilled that we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I
And
think-
the only other thing is to make sure that, I'm sure you guys have a vendor that you use for producing the stickers. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we could talk to Hyattsville. I mean, since I'm sure they have somebody, because they turned it around pretty quickly,
Yeah,
5 days or something.
yeah,
What they normally do is everybody gets most of the places to encourage more community involvement is they get the entries, then it's kind of culled down to like 3 per group, and then those 3 are put on a website and people vote on them. And then the public chooses.
Okay.
Yeah.
3. And I thought that would work fine for us.
that's a
right?
great idea, yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the sticker contest?
No, I'll work on the timeline now that we need it out for the mail-in ballots. I'll have to go back and see when those are supposed to be due, and then we can but if you can do the outreach, because I personally think that the biggest thing that's going to guide this is the school year and when it's in their calendar.
I'll work on the contact for the art teacher at RES. I know they were really supportive of the town seal piece of it. So let me see what we can do from there.
Yep.
Oh,
Made
good.
a note of that. Okay. So the only other thing I had, well, the 2 final things is I'm really behind on getting minutes done for these meetings. So today I'm trying the AI assistant, the meeting summary. So if this works out and it makes sense to us, that we can use this moving forward. Alan says all the time, Mayor Thompson always says, like, it's a very low threshold for minutes. And so some of these we can do as summary minutes, but I do think when it comes down to like when we're voting or like reviewing packets and all of that stuff, I think needs to be really detailed. And so that I have various sets of draft minutes and various forms of being completed. So I need to focus on those, get them caught up. And what I'll do is I'll drop them in a Dropbox. We already have like 1 set, but I'll add a few more to that. And then each month, if we could do maybe 3 or 4 sets, I think we won't have any problem getting caught up, but definitely need to do that. So
Right.
the AI assistant hopefully will help us moving forward. It'll hopefully give us a good format. And that's what we're going to transition to, even maybe for mayor and council meetings, because it's just very taxing to do the minutes. And I know that people think they're not important, but they really are.
No, they
when you
are.
try to go back.
They
Yeah,
are.
it's one of those things that you really need. I use them a lot for the mayor and council meetings. Like I rely on those. So I put that level of detail in
Right.
all of them, but it becomes very taxing because I'm the only one really
Yeah.
that does those. So
Really. No, the 1 month that I tried to do it, it was. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
I-
Oh.
I can't, that's a multitasking thing that I can't do. I can't be in the meeting and writing about the meeting at the same
Yeah,
time.
no, I watched the movie and wrote it up.
Did you have popcorn?
I didn't because I needed my hands free to type.
That's true.
and so it just takes time. So we're gonna
Yeah,
get
it
caught
does.
up. And I just wanted to put that on the
Thank
agenda
you.
so we could talk about it and we can get focused on it. And then we'll just, like I said, need to review maybe 3 sets at a time or however many we can get done between between meetings. But I just wanted to put it on everybody's radar that we I needed to get that done, but I wanted you to know that I'm working on it.
Okay.
And that we have a new tool potentially. And then the last thing is just when do we want to meet again? So we had the Ethics Commission took our time slot that we usually take.
Oh, okay.
have, and that had to do with the town attorney's schedule.
Okay.
So does October the 16th or 30th work for folks?
Either one is fine with me.
I think I'm out of town on the 30th.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's on my work calendar, not on my home calendar. Actually, I don't even know if it's on my work calendar yet. And then we're all supposed to be doing Halloween prep on the 30th. So the 16th is better for me.
It'd be the 16th at 6:30?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So we'll put that down as our next meeting. And we're still going to be meeting via Zoom, not that the town hall is going to be ready by that point, but I think it would be helpful to talk to the mayor and council at some point, and I'll definitely do that. I think it's easier for most of the committees to meet via Zoom because everybody's volunteering their time. But if at any point, once the town hall building is done, if you want to start meeting in person, just let me know and we can work that out.
Okay. All right.
It makes
Right.
sense to do like one in-person meeting on occasion in case other people feel like the public wants to come to it. I have no idea. I can't imagine.
And we will have in person, don't forget, once we get into the election season. So we do have an information session we'll do and just meet and greets. I do still want
Right.
to meet and greet with the other boards of elections. I certainly had hoped it would be like this fall, but it may be the beginning of next year. So we can get a feel for how everybody else feels about getting together around that time. But
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten a lot from meeting with all of these different boards and all of the people that have spoken with us. It really gave us some good perspective on things.
And it certainly helps us figure out where we are in the process and potentially what's next.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Okay, so we've got our marching orders here.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get that back to you, if not tonight, tomorrow. Because it's brutal. Why do I always, all I ever do is complain about how much work there is. But
A lot going on.
it's just true. Okay. This should be pretty easy. All right.
The only other thing, Sarah, when you talk with Mayor Thompson, maybe talk to him a little bit about the vacancies that are coming up. I know that from a staff perspective, we've mentioned it, but I don't remember if you had talked to him about Aaron when they dropped off.
I didn't.
Because-
Yeah.
Yeah, they were active and then they just weren't. We've had that experience. So we just need to find somebody who we can, or maybe think about how we're structuring our meetings or something, figure out
Yeah.
what we can do to support having more input from 16 or 17-year-old on the board.
Right, and we gotta replace Patty.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful evening
Thank you.
and we'll
See
see
you
you
later.
on the 16th.
You'll see
We'll
me on
see you before then.
Yes.
Monday, and you're gonna send
Right.
those, right?
Yep. I will send the link out tonight.
Right. I can-
Terrific.
So that I can link, so that I can't find it and I have to switch my computer 3 times and
We'll have you all ready.
well, it's like I have a work computer, which none of this is on, and I have my computer that I do like play things on. And then I have my old work computer, which is the one that has the working camera on, which I don't ever touch because it's my old work computer. And then I pull it out and I'm like, oh no, there's no battery. Oh, it's doing updates and okay, I'm gonna go eat some dinner. You guys have a good
Good
night.
idea. All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks.
Take care,
All right.
everybody. See
Take
ya.
it easy.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.